What is up, you nerds? How's it going? Welcome to Let's Listen. I'm Josh. I'm your host here, and I'm joined by the four well-known members of the Tiberian Sons, being Tony, Nate, Max, and Travis, all in unison. How are you guys doing tonight?
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh my god. Well, if anybody here recognizes my background tonight, this is from Arch Enemy's classic 2003 album Anthems of Rebellion, which the Tiberian Sons have followed with the spiritual successor Anthems of Liberation. Yeah, what inspired you guys to follow up with this 20-year-old album?
Let's not. All right. We're going to temper down the false expectations here, because this is very much not an Arch Enemy style album. But no.
Can I link it? I got it. See, okay. Okay, so the singer for Arch Enemy, Alyssa White-Gulls, I think she's named. I've butchered her name, and she's from Montreal, and now, everlasting shame for me. But you might know that in her music videos and on stage, she likes to dress up as an eagle, which is a thing that flies. Oh. And you know what else flies? Airplanes.
Oh my god. Wow. Max with like the 6 degrees of separation tie-in right there.
That's why Max is in the band. That's why Max is in the band. He comes up with that shit, man. It's great.
Space is the foundation of the band. Oh my god. No, but in all seriousness, this album, Anthems of Liberation, this is a tribute to the music of the Ace Combat series. We've seen the Tiberian Sons cover Ace Combat several times before. So, it's not much surprise to me to see that you guys have dedicated an entire album to that. We have at least one track that I recognize from a previous release. But yeah, I know there are at least 2 members of the band that are really into this series, and that the music means something to you guys. And Tony, maybe you want to start off by letting us know what this all means to you. I think Max is the other guy who's going to answer this question.
Yeah,
deeply.
Yes. Max will have plenty to say. I will start off by... So we put out Devil's Spear last year on our The Only Winning Move EP. And obviously we listened to that with Josh here when we put that out. So it was like March 2022 or whatever. And then we had a big video. And what surprised us is it ended up being like a massive hit on YouTube. So with the views we have from the music video we put together for that, as well as like combining it with like the YouTube music stream number, it's well over 1 million. So it was very, very surprising to us that I was like, oh, whoa, people are resonating with this cover. I mean, I'm glad they are. And so obviously after seeing that happen, then we're like, oh, well, clearly we just need to do more Ace Combat. And, we did Paper Mario, Origami King last year. And I knew immediately it's just like, okay, well, the next thing has to be Ace Combat. People want it clearly. So for me, the Ace Combat games, I grew up with them. At least it was Ace Combat 4 and 5 that I played when I was younger, and I loved both of them a lot. And then when it was, I don't know, like right around 2020 or something, Max was like, I don't even remember the context. It was so long ago, but Max had posted Daredevil from Ace Combat 7, which is the big song of Ace Combat 7. I hadn't even played the game yet, and I listened to it and I was like, oh my God, like this is a brilliant piece of music. And so that was what started the Devil's Spear arrangement that originally we did it for DoD for like April 2021, and then we updated it, put it on the EP, and then mixed it in with Magic Spear, which is a different track from Ace Combat 7. But so basically, yeah, like we said, we're gonna do a whole Ace Combat album, and we did most of the popular songs that everybody was kind of looking for including Zero, Unsung War, Megalith, Liberation of Grace Mary, and those are all on the back half of the album. But on the front half of the album, we also got Operation, Kimona, First Flight, Dual Wielder, and Farbanti. So if there are any Ace Combat fans tuning in right now, they're in for a treat, because we are very proud of how this one came out, and like basically everybody is on every song as well, which is awesome, with a couple of tiny exceptions. But like so like the thing about Ace Combat is it's hard to kind of understand why people love Ace Combat unless you've played them. Like if you zoom out, Ace Combat is just a arcade shooter with an anime storyline, right? So it kind of seems, it seems silly that people might get emotionally attached to it, but like the stories are so well crafted, and like even down to like the radio banter between you and like your wingman and everything. Like there's a lot that goes on, and it gets like really involved. And I've never seen, like, there are very few game series that I have played through that somehow manage to make you feel the way that Ace Combat does. Like with all the story and everything, it literally makes you feel like you're an ace pilot saving the world. Like you fucking just save the world by taking your plane and shooting 100 missiles, which isn't realistic, but
that's what it takes for freedom and saving
exactly.
the world sometimes.
Yeah. High price for freedom, right? But yeah, like, and when it comes to the drama of Ace Combat, especially the back half of the album are all songs that punctuate the most dramatic moments of these Ace Combat games and really push it over to these special moments in game history for me. So like, yeah, so Ace Combat makes me feel a way that very few other games make me feel for whatever reason. And I think it's just like that in itself is something that, really is very notable for any sort of game series, So of course, like I have this, particular emotional connection with Ace Combat. But honestly, it's just some of the best VGM ever written as far as I'm concerned. I'll let Max take over from there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I got stuff to say. So first of all, you will notice that I'm currently performing what I call an Ace Combat 7 reference. Because a major component in AC7 is the Arsenal birds, which are huge aircraft carriers that launch tons of tiny drones. And so to demonstrate, I have brought one of my very own tiny drones. I got 3 of those. This one is awesome. But this one is my first prototype, so you will understand the emotional attachments I have to him. But more seriously, I second most of what Tony said. What I absolutely love about Ace Combat is it's the type of game you get if you set out to make a combat flight simulation. But the only things you know about how fighter planes work are those extremely detailed, realistic, super hardcore documentaries, Top Gun and Macross and Star Wars. That to me are the 3 big influences of the game. It's the writing is very Japanese, extremely high stakes drama unfolding all around you during the missions. It's never about the stuff that happens at the ground scale of things and big strategies and all the stuff you will see. Like, is if you like DCS, you probably won't like Ace Combat because that's the exact opposite. It's, oh, hey, you were in for a cool ground strike mission, so you prepared like a madman for 10 hours, memorizing the manuals for the A-10. Hey, mission update, spoilers, oops, all fighter planes and 10 aces are coming to you, and well, you got this big attack plane that's made to only strike ground targets. Sucks to be you, because now the sky is chanting in Latin and you're gonna get your ass kicked. So that's the thing. This, and of course the music has always been absolutely stellar. It got way better when Keiki Kobayashi and his team took over for AC4 onwards, but it still kicked ass earlier on in the series. And I still hold hope against reason that someday Namco will remake Ace Combat 3, which is the best plot in the entire series, because it's got actual anime cutscenes, and it's a cyberpunk corporate war in the near future with a branching story. And one of the final missions, you have to send your plane into the electrosphere, which is like the Matrix, but with planes, to defeat an enemy artificial intelligence. Well, an enemy evil scientist who uploaded his brain to the electrosphere to transcend humanity.
Wow.
As you do in those situations,
And the solution is fighter jets.
Fighter jets on the internet.
Yeah.
You hack the thing.
I was gonna ask, how come no love for the original trilogy? I see on the album we've got a lot of 4, we got a lot of 7, we've got some 5, we got some 6.
Well, so I'm if this does well, I have definitely considered doing more Ace Combat in the future. I think doing like a follow up, but we would certainly need to do a few things between this Ace Combat release and the next one, but like there's definitely material on those first few Ace Combat games that's fantastic. But the main focus of doing this album was kind of to focus on the big dramatic pieces, which are in the back half of the album, and just adding in a couple of the extra other game levels, like Kimona and Farbanti and stuff like that, just to make it not like a 5-song album. Because Devil's Spear was what started us off on this path, getting those big, huge dramatic pieces that Keiki Kobayashi writes for all the the end stages of those games was really the big focus for that. But the Ace Combat 4 is kind of funny because it's most of the music is kind of this Ace Combat classic vibe. So like Kimona and Farbanti and Operation, which are actually written by a different composer, and was why they kind of sound a little bit different. They have this more like 90s sort of fusion sort of vibe to them, and a lot of the Ace Combat 3 and 2 soundtracks kind of have the same thing. But there's a lot of great stuff on it. It would be like, if we did that, it would be more of like a fusion album, essentially. It wouldn't be like a big epic orchestral album. At the end of Ace Combat 4 is when you hear Megalith, which is the 9th track on this album. And it's a massive moment. And I think that was a big turning point for Ace Combat's music as a series. And I think I was reading an interview with Keiki Kobayashi talking about writing that song, where I think that was like his first gig, Ace Combat 4 with Namco. And he was basically like, he went to the producers and was like, hey guys, I new composer with balls, being like, hey guys, can I try something? Can I just try something for this last piece? And they're like, sure, whatever, Keiki, just, all right, fine. It better be good. Right? And then he writes this absolute monster of a piece of music, and which blew the producers away. And obviously they use it as the final moment in the game. And from then on, it's been more like big dramatic megalith type music, rather than this sort of older like 90s fusion style. So yeah, basically like Keiki Kobayashi proved himself by making that song and essentially took over the game series by doing that. So
holy shit, that's a nice little piece of trivia. Yeah. Oh my God. Travis, we haven't heard from you yet. What was it like for you working on a full album based on this one hit song that you guys did?
Yeah, no, I feel a little bit like an outlier, especially seeing how passionate Tony and Max are about this game. And truth be told, I actually have never played any of these games, but I do love the music, and I think Tony was my like introduction into that. And I remember when he first was talking about this, doing this album last year, and I was like, yeah, no, that sounds great, like awesome, more great music. And then when he started showing me some of the demo tracks, I was like, oh my God, like this is going to be amazing. And there's such a diverse type of and style of drumming throughout the album that's really, really interesting to play through. And so it was awesome to record with. We've got like flamenco, on one track. We've got like the big, huge, just epic pocket drums like in Megalith. Then we've got some like prog stuff happening, and it was awesome and kind of a whirlwind to record through. But yeah, this was a pretty
Travis
awesome
did all this in
experience.
like 2 days. All the drumming in like fucking 2 days, which is
it was
wild.
It was a whirlwind, which part of it is kind of a shame that I feel like I didn't get to like really like have the music like sink in and really enjoy it. And it's just kind of this crazy schedule, but nonetheless it was like super awesome, and I'm thankful for another opportunity to play with these guys and on some more awesome music. And hopefully this is my introduction into Ace Combat, and I'll start playing the games one of these days.
Yes.
One of us.
my ever-growing list of games I have to play that I haven't yet.
We're gonna have to hold you to that. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, they're not too terribly long, so they're like maybe like 20 hours, right? So it shouldn't be a huge dedication, That's
Unless
my
you
problem.
really suck.
All the
He said this would take 20 hours. I can't beat the second level. Oh my God.
They're also relatively easy.
Yeah.
Right,
Which
because
means that if you fail to actually complete them, it means you suck terribly and you should get good.
okay, like you said,
Hashtag gatekeeping.
the flight simulator is not quite there, as you said earlier. It's based on a lot more of fictional layman's understanding of how a jet plane works.
It's very much about the vibe.
Yeah.
Well, Travis, you haven't been able to enjoy the track, so maybe we can start doing that. We have 5 tracks coming up, guys. We have some of these tracks are kind of ridiculously long. We've got like a couple of 9-minute tracks and things like that. So I think the front end of this album is actually all relatively short and digestible. So we're going to tackle them 5 at a time. Coming up first, we've got Operation from Ace Combat 4, Kimona from Ace Combat 4 as well, First Flight from Ace Combat 5, and Dual Wielder from Ace Combat 7, and polishing that segment off with Farbanti from Ace Combat 4. Jumping all around. I'm sure there is a feeling, a narrative that's kind of woven musically throughout this. And I failed to comment earlier that the one band member who is not here is Connor Engstrom. Where's he at?
He's on a plane.
He's on a plane.
So at least he's on a plane. Yeah. So at least he's still doing his part to keep it keep the theme. But yeah, Connor's on his way. Connor and his wife are back on from Europe, and I think they might actually currently be in immigration line right now. He was really going to try to make it, but that's how things. Maybe he'll be able to join us at the end, but he tried. He definitely tried.
Oh, there he is. He's in.
He's in the chat.
Oh, it's Connor. Connor just
We landed.
The eagle has landed. I repeat, the eagle has landed.
Right on. Well, I think we're gonna land this album on all of your ears, folks. So if everybody's ready, let's
listen.
satellite will be launched from the Kimona Islands rocket base to support our mainland operations. The Erusians responded by deploying a large number of their air superiority fighters to prevent the launch. A large-scale air battle is expected. We must win this battle to maintain our air superiority. We've only got one window of opportunity for this launch. Shoot down as many fighters as possible to preserve top cover over the rocket base.
Hot freaking damn. Anthems of Liberation. All right. I'm going to have some Anthems of Libation to that first half of the album.
Hey.
Cheers
Sweet.
to you guys. That was incredible. Yeah, so we heard Operation from Ace Combat 4, Kimona from Ace Combat 4 as well, First Flight from AC5, Dual Wielder from AC7, and Farbanti from AC4. We also had some guest appearances by Frank Klepacki doing voiceover on track 1, Ivan Hackstock delivering an insane guitar solo on track 2 there, and Dom Palambi with the cajon on track 4. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God. Where to begin with commenting on all of these incredible tracks?
So first, surely you don't just mean Ivan Hackstock, you mean legendary Tekken player Ivan Hackstock from Croatia.
There we go. Thank you for hyping that up, Max. That was absolutely necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Ivan.
On your mic for that.
He had delay. Hackstock. Ivan, yeah, shout out to Ivan. Good old DODer. We've known him for a while. I asked him to play on Kimona because we were in the DOD Discord, and he was like, I want to remix this Ace Combat song. Just talking about it on a whim. And like Max and I were there, and we're like, well, we kind of already are. But it was before any of the lead guitars had been. I think I just like started working on it, maybe working on the arranging. So I was like, well, yeah, might as well ask Ivan to put a solo on it. So I think it was the first solo in Kimona, right? So on the album, they're supposed to be gapless, like a seamless transition between two, but they're two separate tracks. So yeah, the first guitar solo in Kimona is Ivan Hackstock. The one at the end is Connor. And then, yeah, for Dual Wielder, we got good old Dom Palambi, who is in the chat currently, bought a friggin' cajon for this session, and basically mastered the cajon immediately, because you know, like we did the session online together on a video session, and he was doing the solo, and he like put his foot up and he changed the pitch, and it was like, how the fuck did you learn how to do that? And then of course, good old Frank Klepacki. We have to put him on every album one way or another. He did the voiceover for the announcer. So basically, Operation is like the theme that comes in Ace Combat 4 when you're like getting the mission briefings. So your mission commander is explaining what the mission is, and obviously we can't legally use sound clips from the game without getting a license. So we had Frank recreate it, and yeah, so. I did play a fretless bass on Dual Wielder, and I also played bass on Farbanti. But Max plays bass on the whole rest of the album for those two. Or those two, yes. Yeah, so those two are the only bass contributions I did. Max is doing the rest.
Very nice. Hell yeah.
Also, I will add that when Frank delivered his voiceover take, people familiar with AC4 know that the briefing voice has a kind of a weird filter effect on it that makes it sound kind of a little bit robotic. I don't think we, asked for anything or whatever, but Frank just did it anyway because he figured, man, you guys are going to need it anyhow, so I just recreated it because I felt like it. And that is one of the great many reasons Frank Klepacki is a badass and awesome, and we love him.
yeah. Frank is so pro. Like same thing on the Only Winning Move. We had that Ease 2 track, which had the Terminator quotes, and we had Frank recreate the Terminator quotes. And he's like, here, I gave you a bunch of versions. Like this one has the vocal effect, and this one has like the same like background noise that's in the original that he recreated. It's just like, dude, you could have just given me just the voice and it would have been totally fine. But yeah, he goes above and beyond because he's a pro.
Oh my god, that eye to detail, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no wonder you keep bringing him back. You wouldn't have any reason otherwise. Just kidding. Oh my god,
involved. He'll get bored of us.
Speaking of the licensing, as you were mentioning, Tony, in regards to getting samples and stuff, you guys wanted to give a special shout out, I believe, to Sounddrop for helping you out with the licensing for this album.
Yeah, so we wanted to line up the streaming release with our Bandcamp release, and which is this Friday. I don't think we even mentioned that. We're going to put the album out this Friday. It's up for pre-order right now on Bandcamp, and you can get, if you buy the album now, you can listen to First Flight and the updated mix to Devil's Spear, which is coming up in just a second. Ooh, we're getting a raid from
a massive raid from the Washington Metro Gamer Symphony Orchestra.
Sweet.
Holy shit. Welcome in, everybody.
Welcome, viewers. Nice. We should probably get this thing going now that we have people. So while we're getting raided, maybe we should say anything else we need to say, but go on to the next song.
Yeah, absolutely. For those of you who are coming in, oh, yeah. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there, Dave.
No, there might be some symphonies in the next song. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
There are symphonies in all of the rest of the songs. So just you guys wait.
Oh, my God. For those of you who are joining us and maybe here for the first time, thank you for coming in. This is Bonus Stage. We host listening parties and concerts for the VGM, Nerdcore, and Chiptune communities. Tonight, we are hosting a listening party for the Tiberian Sons and their latest release, Anthems of Liberation, which is coming out this Friday, Bandcamp Friday. We have listened to 5 tracks. So sorry you're here a little late, but yeah, we are going to be listening to some more of this incredible album. What more did you guys want to say before we dip into this next section?
Well, this next song, Zero, is one that we actually did a video for with all the band, kind of like Devil's Spear, and it's Zero. So it's basically the most popular Ace Combat song. It needs very little introduction because a lot of people know what it is, and I think people are going to enjoy it a lot.
Hell yeah. Okay. Well then, with that, everybody ready? Let's
listen.
Oh man, Frank Lepacki, I hope that tree is just looking more and more epic as the night goes on. Oh wow, folks, we just heard from Zero from Ace Combat 0 and the Unsung War from Ace Combat 5. What a journey. Holy crap, that is some really epic stuff. Yeah, and you had some collaborators on those tracks as well. For Zero, we had brass provided by John Stacey, Danny Flam, and John Robert Matz, as well as vocals from Sebastian Rodriguez Alamede, Michelle Draband, George Newick, and Anthony Nuccio on the Unsung War. Yeah, lots of A-list talent there to flesh out those sections for you guys.
Yeah, for sure, man. Zero was actually arranged last year as well. That was originally a DoD version, and then we updated it and everything, put more people on it for this go around. Yeah, the Unsung War and Megalith, which we'll hear later. I got to shout out these vocalists: Sebastian, George, Anthony, Michelle. It was kind of a mad scramble to get like these vocals in and mixed. They were kind of the last things to put on the album. But I mean, honestly, shout out to obviously like these guys, fucking Nate, like a lot of people busted their asses to get this album over the finish line, which I needed to have happen because I was going to leave on tour, and then otherwise, if I did left it uncompleted, then we would have to wait till next year, and I just didn't want that to happen. But yeah, like like a lot of people really put in a lot of work to make this happen, which is awesome, and I just love having live players, especially. Like you cannot like sequence a solo vocalist. Even AI is still making it weird, right? And like you're always better off getting quality live musicians on your stuff. So whenever you can, go for it. Yeah, and so for Zero, John Stacey did the brass arrangement. Also, he performed French horn. He actually performed Wagner tuba, which is this weird shaped kind of sort of tuba trombone looking thing. Well, I forgot to credit that, but yeah, Danny Flam on trombone, John Robert Matz on trumpet, which you'll actually hear from him later again. And yeah, Zero being like the most popular Ace Combat song, it was like right from the get-go, like we knew we had to do it. That one was one. All the acoustic guitar stuff is really crazy, and honestly, basically when I heard that song, I was like, man, what would it sound like if it was like Rodrigo Gabriela sort of thing? And that basically like made me motivated to essentially learn a completely new technique on the guitar. And so I actually have my guitar right here. Somebody else should talk because I'm going to grab my guitar.
Yeah. Talking. He's grabbing his guitar. Go for it, Max.
Basically, this whole like rhythm guitar technique where you're like using the hands, like the hold on. This is great content. So basically, that whole rhythmic technique I always thought was so cool, and it's so fun to do, but it took me months to get down. But I was like so motivated to do it because I want to have that on this friggin' song. So, and then I haven't really ever used it since. Yeah. But I'll figure out a new way to use that technique. But
we were listening to Tony as he was progressing through learning that technique, just for Zero. And you guys got to know, Tony has found himself in unbelievable amounts of pain during this training. It was not easy.
Yeah, that stuff. It's not easy
for his art.
I did. You're supposed to suffer at least a little bit for your art, otherwise it's not good art. That's totally like unironically that is my philosophy. Yeah. So then, okay, Unsung War had a live vocalist on it, and shout out to those guys, and just wanted to make that one jinty. I got an 8-string guitar earlier this year, so that song is in F sharp, and for those of you at home, the lowest string on an 8-string is an F sharp. So I was like, I'm going to make this an 8-string song. It was the same thing with First Flight. First Flight actually has some 8-string stuff on it as well, but Yeah. Anything else? Anybody else?
Mick Gordon, if you want to play Ace Combat, we're here.
I think it's so awesome.
Oh yes, Mick Gordon and the Tiberian Sons. Oh my God.
There's a perpetually open door for Mick Gordon to come jam with us.
Also for Keiki Kobayashi.
Yes,
anytime, dude.
Of course.
Like, if you're listening to us from Japan, just you drop by anytime. We'll supply you with a keyboard, whatever. Just do your thing.
Keiki Kobayashi, go and join the Tiberian Sons Discord server. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to say, as much as you guys have put in that level of detail and that level of dedication musically, I think that there has also been such effort and talent displayed in the album art for this as well. And we are joined by none other than Nate Horsfall, who is no stranger to helping you guys capture a vision and put in a lot of little touches. And I just wanted to showcase his work and hear him talk a little bit about it. Nate, oh my God, this art is incredible. There's a lot of little details here. There's less explosions than we're used to seeing on some of Tiberian Sons' previous releases. Yeah, why don't you start telling us a little bit about how you approached this?
So there is less explosions, but only because I had to scale back explosions. Spoiler alert. This artwork is a really interesting one because it's a ride. You're looking at it. I'll zoom in more on these and you'll see it. But if we look at the way Ace Combat artwork looks in general, it all has a look. And the look is basically photoreal, jet, and then the sky or an explosion. And like, it's all relatively got this kind of feel. And I wanted it to feel recognizable, but I did not want to do this. I did not want to just do what already had existed. I didn't want you to misplace it for an existing album artwork, or excuse me, existing game artwork. And I also didn't want to just do what had already been done. And I didn't want to try to render a photorealistic jet because I'm not that good. So I had this idea really early on to do more of like a propaganda type thing. And I was inspired by things like this picture and this picture with like really hard blacks and like really basic gradients. The other thing too is it was meant to save time. I didn't think I was going to have time to finish this like at all at the level that we wanted it to be. So I was going to try to do something more stylized. And so I started it with this, and this is a 3D render. I bought this jet online for $70.
Wow!
and because it's a Tomcat, and between time and skill, making jets is hard. In case anyone's ever tried it, perspective doesn't really make sense in the way that you want it to make sense. Like it doesn't. You're not looking at, nice little boxy shapes that you can just be like, oh, cool, that's what that looks like from this angle. So this allowed me to use these jets and like pose them around and show the guys like, here's these ideas, here's these, what about this composition, what about this composition? And to the point that I got them into a call with me one time like this and literally had them like direct, like, or rotate it like more like this, change the camera like this. Max really wanted it to have this like ridiculous Macross like fisheye lens. Didn't work, but I had to show him in real time why it didn't work.
Yeah, he convinced me that it would never work, and it saddened me to no end. But at some point, you gotta admit defeat, and so I did.
So I'll just move through these other ones quicker. So like just different ideas. So okay, this one, or maybe a silhouette thing. Like I told you, I was trying to do more of like a graphic thing in the background. Or like, what if I inverted the graphic thing? That could be an interesting idea. Maybe it could have been. What about this? And just playing with the different positions of the jet. Because it's all 3D, it's so easy for me to just move it around, including the missiles. Just move our missiles around. And then, look at how many missiles are in this image. Way too many. This is
that's also accurate to the game, though, isn't it?
Also Max's idea. He was hell-bent that it had to be Macross missiles, and he wanted 1 million Macross missiles. And so I'm like, here you go. It's not going to look good, though. But we try it, and it was fun because usually when I make an album art for people, I just go off and I kind of do it, and I send drafts here and there, but it wasn't like this. So then we got like, okay, what if we did something more with the background? this is the affectionately named Windows XP background idea. It's not a good idea, but it was the point was like, what if we put sky back there instead, and then this shape, and then we were like, okay, but what if that shape wasn't just like some bullshit that I made up and was actually relevant to the game? And so I don't remember which one of you guys came up with this idea where it's like, this is a logo from the game.
And this is the Erusian flag. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember which one it was? We were all on a call and we were just talking about this, and somebody suggested that flag, and then I was just like, oh my God, that's it. That's what it is.
I think the way it happened that was like one of you guys was like, hold on, are there any flags with cool shapes? And I just had this one flash into my mind. Hold on, I got it.
Yeah, and it's perfect because hilariously, each one of these little things is exactly the number of songs from the games that they cover. Like it's the exact games that are covered in the album, no less. This guy didn't make the cut. Turns out, if you make that into a silhouette, it's not a good shape, and I'll just leave it at that. So we made these into silhouettes, and I was like, okay, cool. Now we can really get that propaganda angle going. Oh yeah, look at that cool propaganda angle. Like this is like Tony wanted to make a shirt out of it, so if we ever make a shirt out of it, it'll probably be this. But
and then I think I came up with the idea of like maybe like a plane can like burst through the poster or something.
Yeah, like burst through the poster. Somebody suggested it, burst through the poster, and so I made these like again in 3D, really god awful jet trail ideas about here's roughly where it'll be, and then again playing around with that, like okay, now it's bursting through the poster. Neat, that's a cool way to do this. And then we were like, okay, but what if it bursted through the poster and there was like stuff behind it? And then we were like, but what if instead of all of that, it was just a UI background? I don't remember why that happened either, but it was a complete hard right turn of just like, dang it, that's actually the answer. And I was just going, man, I don't have the time or again skill probably to make that background. So I temporarily used the Ace Combat background, just lifted it and put it in there, and it was originally intending to leave it there that way for a while because it's just the edges and it's just a UI thing and like it's not that big of a deal, but I did come back to it later. So here's me getting Tony to make me something in After Effects, I believe, and I'm like, let's put some background in there, and then it really bothered me how lame it looked compared to this like custom background thing that had existed. So then I actually did
Ace Wombat.
Yeah, Ace Wombat. The running title for this was Ace Wombat for a long time. Almost made the cut. Just kept going along. Now it's like, what if we put some cracks in there? Because if it's a UI background, what if I put cracks in there and kind of displace things a little bit? It gives them a little bit more space. We're getting some more colors in here. And now this is a glass shatter effect that I bought for like $10 on like Envato or something like that. It's better to just put that in there. I wanted a real glass explosion. I'm not going to draw every single one of those pieces of glass. It's just not worth it. And then I could put those cracks around everywhere else. And now we get into what it almost shipped as. Like it almost shipped as all of these explosions, and I was telling the guys like, all right, so which one of these is the one that we should do? Should we do this one? Should we do this was like this, less explosions this way, one explosion over there, explosion over there, and we ended up not doing any of them, and it's only this one. And at this point, after I'd done all of that too, now I wanted to make my own UI. I actually finally decided to go ahead and replicate their UI, so I did do that all by hand.
Oh, wow.
And so if you really zoom in on it, go back to it. Yeah, if we zoom in on this guy, we can see, go back out to this. There we go. You can see there's all these little things all over the place that I grabbed from the Ace Combat wiki that fans made. That's just indicating what all of these things are: Arsenal Bird, laser ground weapon, etc., etc. You know, everywhere all around it. And then now we had the new title in there, which was Songs of Liberation. It was almost that for a while, and then it really bothered me that it was just songs. It just didn't feel like it had enough oomph. So I went to the thesaurus and I spitballed it for a bit, and I said, "Hey Tony, what about anthems?" And people were into that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we changed it.
Anthems is great. So
Yeah,
so
and it follows Arch Enemy really well.
Yeah, so we got there, and then at this point, it's just about moving these pieces around. Like I just kept moving pieces to try to figure out, okay, now that I put the title in here, how can I not obscure all of these cool little details that are all over the place to really, so the fans who really know what it is can actually, really latch onto this and see that it is all of the UI elements that I replicated as much as possible. And if you really squint at it, you can see all of the pieces, and the pieces themselves are all messed up. Oops, excuse me. This is the last one. Yeah, they get messed up in the final version. This isn't the final version, so I shift it slightly so it makes the glass look a little bit off center. And that's pretty much where it landed. And it's, if we come back to this is where it started. That's where it started.
It's pretty crazy.
And
Pretty
this
crazy.
is where it ended. It's just.
I'd like to see somebody write a prompt for that, huh?
Yeah,
Right.
I know, right? So
Right,
I can go
yeah.
rant about AI for forever, but what I want people to really take away over this is that what AI does is AI would go, do a propaganda prompt, whatever, and it might have made something that could have been okay. But the month or so that we worked on this together as a group, as people, we just came up with something so much bigger than any of us would have made on our own, certainly that I would have made on my own. The end result is something I could have never imagined both accomplishing or even thinking of in the first place. So always use your imagination, folks. Don't let AI do it for you. It's lame.
Yeah. Yep.
One thing I would like to reiterate, because I think I say this pretty much every time we do a listening party for a new release, but it literally is the way Nate does things, is that he will make you the coolest artwork you've ever seen, and he will apologize every step of the way.
I thought that was a Canadian quality, Nate.
Well, I mean, in terms of with these guys especially, it always ends up being the case, because I get overbooked, that even though I know about this album for forever, it always just gets pushed back. And then finally I'm like, ugh, I don't know if I have the time to do this thing, and I feel bad about it every time. So I apologize the whole time that I'm working on it. And then somehow managed to get there. I did this while working on the 20th anniversary of the Dwelling of Duels logo. And I would constantly back and forth between that while working on Speed Freaks animations for the Warhammer game, while working on the Bellin Studios full-time job that I actually have. So I don't know how it just kind of got lucky. It came together,
A peek into the life of a creative. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, Nate, you don't have anything to apologize for, because, of course, the end result was incredible. Who does need to maybe apologize for being late is maybe Connor. We've got Connor here now in audio mode only. He just got home from the plane and is able to join in at the last minute. Connor, how's it going, man?
Hello. I literally just arrived in my Uber with a ride from Donny, not Tony, but Donny.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so
Donny
I'm just,
Dickinson.
Yeah, I was gonna
yeah, exactly. The one and only. Yeah, I'm just super stoked that I made it at all, because it's
so great. You could fly across the ocean to come do this.
To be here tonight.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my God.
No place I'd rather be.
No, I'm glad you could come in clutch, man. Well, we've got 3 more tracks to listen to. Coming up next, we've got Devil's Spear with a repurposed video from a previous release, updated with, of course, the new mix for the album. And we are also going to be listening to Megalith from Ace Combat 4. Connor, why don't you've been very quiet this entire show. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Devil's Spear and Megalith?
Oh man, well, I guess the only thing that I'll say is that I mean, Devil's Spear, I didn't think we could outdo it, but we might have. And even the improvements, like the Devil's Spear version for the album release, the full album, is like another improvement on top of what we had. And, you know, it's kind of like what Nate was talking about. It's like, you know, you just keep working at something and you put in the actual man hours to get something done and you know, spend time with it creatively. And it's amazing what you can churn out, especially with a group like this. So yeah, really excited.
Yeah. I will preface these two songs with so Devil's Spear, obviously we this was the first one, and really spearheaded the rest of this album. And so you guys are just going to watch the YouTube video that we already have on it, but I updated it with our current mix. And so arrangement wise, nothing's different, but you know, like once I got to the mastering process of putting all the songs together and making them sound really cohesive, I was realizing like, oh man, like actually the bass is a lot lower compared to the other songs. And then the drums also sound a little bit different. So I had imported the settings from one of the other songs into Devil's Spear and used those drum settings. And then I also, you know, A-B'd Devil's Spear with one of the other mixes and tried to make sure that like on a whole, everything was sounding pretty cohesive. So that then bringing it into the mastering process and making it sound a lot fuller. And if you did A and B with this version and the old version, you would definitely be able to hear a difference. And then Megalith is what we were talking about earlier, the big moment at the end of Ace Combat 4. I think it's possibly the biggest moment on this album, especially here at the end of the song. I'm very stoked about this one. This was one that was like, just wanted to make it sound like the hugest thing I possibly could with this arrangement. It's very, very Hans Zimmer. People will hear it. Yeah.
Right on. All right. Well, if we're all ready to go, then let's
listen.
Oh my God, where the hell are we going? We have one more track on this album, and it's just like we're in the denouement. Wow, epic tracks, guys. We just heard a Devil's Spear. Well, we heard and saw Devil's Spear, a fresh mix on that one, as well as Megalith from Ace Combat 4. We had some collaborators to attribute for their work. We had on track 8 there, Devil's Spear, vocals from Val Nuccio, as well as some more vocals on Megalith from previously featured Sebastian, Michelle, George, and and that's it.
Not Anthony that time.
Not Anthony, no, not that time.
Yeah.
We are not crediting Anthony. Oh my God. Yeah, we've got, of course, Devil's Spear started it all. We know that, absolutely. Megalith, that is some epic stuff right there. Yeah, what was it like picking all the tracks for this? Like, were they like popping out at you? Were all the track selections for your arrangements like super obvious, or did they require a little work?
Well, the back half of the album was very obvious, because it's like, you know, Zero, Devil's Spear we had already done, of course, but it's Daredevil, which is one of the big moments in Ace Combat 7. It's basically all the biggest moments in the 5 games that we pulled from, right? Like where each of these songs come from. They're very popular for Ace Combat fans. They mean a lot to the Ace Combat fans, and they're just musically incredible pieces, all 5 of them. Well, Magic Spear as well is kind of like the 6th one that's mixed in with Daredevil for Devil's Spear. But you know, as far as picking the rest of the album, that was me 2 tours ago, because I'm on tour with TSL right now. 2 tours ago, I was basically just like playing through the Ace Combat games again on emulators. I already had known I was going to do those 5 epic tracks, and I was basically playing through the games again, and trying to find songs to do it. So that's when I was like, oh yeah, Kimona, let's do that one. Farbanti, let's do that one. And First Flight, let's do that one. I think Max had suggested Operation, which is easily the most recognizable like mission briefing theme, and I think it was a great way to open up the album. And then as I was kind of listening to these, it was like, you know, Operation and Kimona kind of sound kind of similar. Let's put them together. And so we put that as like a seamless 2-track opener sort of thing. Dual Wielder actually wasn't originally going to be on this album. It was originally going to be a 9-song album, and then as I got deeper into the arranging, I was just, you know, listening to just other Ace Combat songs at one point, maybe at the gym or something, and then Dual Wielder came on, and I was like, oh damn, this is good. This is good shit. And it just had a cool different vibe that the album didn't have, where it's like cool and controlled, basically. And then made it a little bit more metal with like the kind of chorus of Dual Wielder. And like all the acoustic guitars and stuff like that. But yeah, no, like the back half of the album was pretty much was very obvious from the get-go. Those are big moments in each of the games. They're popular with the fans. So they had to happen. And also a shout out to John Stacy, who did brass on Devil's Spear as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Just getting a little picture so Connor here is represented. There we go. Not just that OBS logo. Oh my God.
I actually switched all of my profile pictures to that OBS logo. So
nice.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here, then in that case, we'll just put that away. Oh my God.
Are you planning to get like face surgery to actually look like that?
Yeah, it's for the sponsorship money.
Squid Game.
Awesome.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm gapping on the Idiocracy reference. Every time he says something, he gets a quarter. What is it? Oh my God. Anyway.
Brought to you by Carl's Jr.
Yes, absolutely. Get yourself a big ass fry. Well, that is all neither here nor there. Connor, you have missed out so much on this, and we would love to hear your beautiful voice. We were talking earlier about, obviously, Tony and Max are very familiar with Ace Combat, but I believe you and Travis are the members of the band who have not brought yourselves up to speed with the series, have not played it. I just wanted to know from you, what is it like playing this music? Like how do you feel that that you resonate with it?
Oh man, that's a question. Well, the cool thing about this is, I mean, just being part of this where Tony and Max are such huge fans of the franchise that does kind of slowly, you know, come across and gets across to us, you know, and we start to learn through them about the franchise, even though we haven't necessarily even played it. So like we, you know, we're always hearing these conversations like, well, I remember, I think it might have been for Liberation of Grace Maria, which is the final track. They were talking about something from the game, and maybe we need to do something musically. And it turned into a whole conversation of just like, oh, do you remember this one part? And then, oh, do you remember this one part? And so we got the play-by-play of the game. So that was really cool. But yeah, just hearing their excitement makes me want to it made me want to dig in and really do it justice. And the Liberation of Grace Maria, this final track, I think after, you know, we had all figured out, Tony was like, so I think actually there's going to be a spot for a solo here. And I'm like, okay, what do you got? And he sends me the timestamps like, oh, I think you got this wrong because, you know, I think, you know, how long is it, Tony? It's like a minute 20 seconds. Like I think you meant like 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's like a minute and a half at least.
You got it off. And he's like, no, it's that long. I was like, oh man. So I'm like, okay, first thing I do is start listening to Masahiro Ando the whole week to try to get like the best J Fusion, you know, in my brain I can. Yeah. And Tony's like, yeah, you got like a minute and a half to fill out. So, you know, go slow. So I tried to go slow, but you know, it's Tiberian Sons. What are you going to do?
Yeah. No, I had already had a lot of moments on the album for me, and Connor's a better guitar player than me, so he had to have at least one giant moment on this album, and it's pretty stellar. It's pretty stellar.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah, I don't think we have anybody else. Oh, we have John Robert Motz featured on trumpet for this track.
Yep. Does solo trumpet on this. Oh, one story I wanted to mention about Megalith.
Yes.
Because of the lyrics. Yeah. So once again, shout out to Sebastian, Michelle, and George, who sang the solo vocals in the middle of Megalith. The rest of the vocals in the big loud sections were sample choirs. And originally what I had done was I used Storm Choir 2 and just random syllables, which is honestly what most composers do when they're working on shit. But the last week wrapping this thing up, I found this post on the YouTube video of a different Ace Combat song that has Latin lyrics in it, and I see this friggin' paragraph of an Ace Combat fan just dissecting the meaning of these Latin lyrics and attaching them to different points in the game and like the lore. And it got in my head, and I'm like, oh my God, if I don't use the correct lyrics for Megalith, I think the Ace Combat fans might crucify me. So like there was like one night, like the Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday before I had to finish this up, I was like, I'm going to do it. And then I opened up the song and I did Hollywood Choirs, which is a choir library that you can kind of type in phonetically what the sounds are supposed to be. And in solo, the choirs sound okay. You know, they're not super realistic, but like in a mix, it's not too bad. So essentially I did redo the entire choirs in like one late night session. And it ended up being better because it was actually that particular choir sounded better for that song. But yeah, it is actually technically the correct lyrics in Megalith, but it's just like what I'm saying. It's like Ace Combat fans are extremely passionate, and like the games, because they're so good, make people passionate about them. So you gotta like recognize that being a thing, and try to, and I'm a fan, Max is a fan, and we're trying to do the best we can to do justice for this glorious music. Yeah, that's I needed to share that story.
Well, and you guys are the fans too, and has been on display during this entire listening party. You guys have definitely put in the care and the work and the production, the art, in every direction that you guys have taken creatively with this album. I think represents that same fervor for this franchise.
Yeah, but just one example I'd like to give is how intense the AC fandom can get. There's like so of course, like, you go to the AC subreddit and you get all those insane memes and all the Salvation references and all that crap. Also Bakamitai sing-alongs, because why not? But it's gotten to the point where, so there's whole wikis dedicated to dissecting the entire lore. There's multiple fan translations of Ace Combat 3, a game which is another tragedy, which if you've got 2 hours, I can talk about it. But there's even in the French fandom scene of AC and other stuff, there's actually one guy who made a series of, like, I think there was like 2-3-hour podcasts just about the lore of the AC series, just trying to recontextualize the entire timeline of the games, presenting the world, what it looks like. So this is like, if you've got the video version, you go, hey, this is the map. And then he walks you through the entire timeline of all 8 canonical Ace Combat games, some of which have super bare minimum storylines, but they have still been kind of, retconned into something plausible. And you can just listen to this stuff and it's freaking awesome. Also, yes, all the Maxor videos are beyond crazy, and I need to get into all those. And yeah, so much stuff. AC fandom, awesome. That's the TLDR you need to know. Play Ace Combat.
Wow. Yeah, I might have to play Ace Combat, although it's going to be weird playing it and not hearing you guys. Is there a mod coming soon where I can just put you guys into the soundtrack?
I mean, I'm sure some Ace Combat fans might be watching. They should make it happen.
Yeah. You guys in chat, you are the fans. You're the dedicated ones. Yeah. You do the work. We'll put a prompt into chat so you guys can go get to work. Oh my God. Well, here we find ourselves at the end of the album. We have one more epic long track, folks. Coming up next, we are going to be hearing the Liberation of Grace Maria from Ace Combat 6, the only Ace Combat 6 entry on this album. Why not more?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, this song is basically, I felt like Megalith was actually the largest statement on the album, and it's very big and epic. And Liberation of Grace Maria feels like the triumphant end credits. It's a very hopeful way to end the album, which just felt like the right way to end an Ace Combat album, because you always feel like great after you play it. And so that's why this one is at the end. It's because it makes you feel great by listening to it, hopefully.
Wow. Well, let's all get ready to feel great, folks. Let's
go dance.
Listen.
We did it.
Oh my God, we are just paying so much tribute to Keiki Kobayashi backstage here, guys. Yeah, you've heard a lot of his work all throughout the night. What an incredible soundtrack. Lots of incredible love from everybody here with the games and such. Yeah, and that is Anthems of Liberation. What an awesome, awesome album, guys. Nothing short of what I would expect from the Tiberian Sons, honestly.
Thank you. Yeah. Also, I mean, shout out to Tetsukazu Nakanishi, who composed Operation Kimona and for Bonte. So it's not completely Keiki Kobayashi. It is that dude too. But yes, I mean, like, we all love Keiki Kobayashi. He is one of my top 3 VGM composers for sure. And we definitely wanted to do a album that, you know, really did the songs justice. You know, like the songs that are that good, I don't want to change that much. You know, like a lot of those songs are pretty conservatively arranged, because it's like, you know, they have particular like just vibes and nostalgia attached to the music, and you don't want to disrupt that. So like the best thing we can do is add guitar and bass and drums, basically,
and some killer solos.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome job. Oh my God. I don't know. I want to hear some final thoughts from everybody as well. Max, final thoughts on the album?
It's time. Seriously, it was an absolute blast playing on this album. Tony has mentioned several times how much the music of Ace Combat and Keiki Kobayashi in general means to him. I can only second that sentiment. Dude's awesome. Soundtracks are incredible, and I love that entire series. Plus, that album was a nice occasion for me to try out a new bass that I got earlier this summer. Hey. And the only regret I got in this is that if we truly made an album with all the hits from the entire Ace Combat series, it would be about 8 hours long. So that means we will have to come back to this at some point in the near future, but yeah, all that. Also, yeah, final shout outs to the AC fandom. You guys go freaking hard and I love it, and it's just awesome.
Yep.
And thanks to you, Josh, for having us here. It's always a pleasure to do hype listening parties with you.
I would bother to make an 8-hour album. That sounds like a dumb idea.
I was going to say, you guys have 1 hour now.
Do that?
I don't know. I mean, like, you know, just don't. What I always say is, like, don't put ideas in my head, because once they get in there, they don't leave until they're out.
So you've given birth.
Yeah, which is why I was suggesting we make a Paw Patrol remix album at some point in the near future as well.
Paw Patrol.
Oh yeah, we'll be there on the double.
You got to rename your band the Tiberian Dads at that point first.
Totally.
Well, at some point we will, hand off the bands to our children, and they will become the Tiberian grandsons. Is the point?
There you go.
Oh, carrying the lineage. Yeah, absolutely. Travis, last thoughts on this album, dude?
Yeah, it's hard to say more that hasn't been said. I'm just always so thankful to be a part of another album from Tony's vision, and to be a part of something that, Tony and Max were so, passionate about. And what a way to, introduce me to the Ace Combat fandom and music. And yeah, this was an awesome experience, and so thankful, Josh, for having us here again. This is great to hang with you. And this is awesome. Yeah. Happy to be a part of it.
Awesome. Thanks, Travis. Connor, let's hear your thoughts.
I, too, am also, as well, happy to be a part of it. No, but, I'm just so proud that we can, churn out stuff that sounds like Tiberian Sons, but we can always find, a fresh spin on it. And at least that's what I really try to do when I, bring something to what we're recording. I'm just trying to, that juxtaposition between trying to stay true, but trying to sound fresh. I think we really, I think we kind of nailed that with this album. You know, and Max was talking about regrets. I think my only regret is, you know, are we going to have to perform some of these someday?
Maybe.
We have to start rehearsing, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
I did see a question in chat about that, actually. Are there currently plans to perform any of these songs?
I'm gonna say perhaps. I think people will just have to wait and find out. But can't confirm anything officially yet.
No, that's the usual response we get around this time of year. You know, in preparation for things that happen. Nate, we don't want to
follow us on MySpace.
Oh God,
big things are coming.
Oh, big things are coming. Good, yeah.
What we will say is that, as usual, you know, if they book us, we will come.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, Nate, I didn't want to gloss over you, bud. Any final thoughts on this album?
Oh, no, you're good. My final thoughts are pretty much just like everybody else. I'm just really glad to be a part of it. It's weird and surreal to hear an album of this quality and be like, those are my friends, and they wanted me to make artwork for them. And, you know, the reason I'm so apologetic every single time is because the amount of dedication they put into their albums, they spend like sometimes multiple years. How many years did this take? Like, in terms of, like, you had pieces of it earlier, and then it like slowly would start and stop and start and stop. But like, it was a while. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, let's knock this out over a summer. It was.
Well, so obviously, like, Devil's Spear was the first thing to come out. That was 2021 initially for DoD, and then we did it for The Only Winning Move in 2022, and then in 2022 at the same time was when I started working on Zero and Liberation of Grace Maria. So Liberation of Grace Maria is actually one of the first ones to be finished alongside of Zero. It just sat, you know, unheard by people for a while. And then at the beginning of 2023 was like, all right, time to do some Ace Combat stuff. And so most of the arranging was probably February through April for those songs. There are a couple ones that kind of happened over the summer. Like, I think Unsung War was like arranged right before we went to the Czech Republic. I had a mixed bounce for that and was listening to it a lot. And then Megalith happened right after we got back from the Czech Republic. But yeah, no, I mean, like, yeah, so
that took like 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know?
Yeah, but you know, it's try to, you know, get things done, and to our guest artists as soon as we could. So like Ivan Hackstock recorded his stuff in like last May. Dom did his stuff in like July or something. Obviously, like all our guest people on Zero and Devil's Spear, that happened when those songs happened. But at the end here, I mean, like, there was, you know, a bit of a scramble to kind of get things all wrapped up on this. We really needed solo trumpet libraries sound kind of terrible. So I wanted to, you know, I was like, you know what, let's just ask somebody in the scene if they wanted to do it. And so John Robert Matz had already played.
John Robert Matz on that sucker. Yeah, all
on Zero. Yeah. He was on Zero, did trumpets on Zero, and is like, hey man, it'd be really great if you could do like a solo bit here for Liberation of Grace Maria. And he did, great. That was like, you know, last week or two of October. Obviously the vocalists really came through for me because we had, you know, we had an original plan for vocals all the way up until last September, and then it fell through. And so, you know, I kind of pulled in favors, got connected to good people that were able to do these things really quickly. And of course, like, shout out to the rest of these guys for, you know, making sure that this stuff was done. Nate kicking ass at the artwork, Travis recording his fucking drums in 2 days, and getting everything, you know, being able to get this album over the finish line, because it's something I really needed to have done before I left for tour, you know. So
I remember you said maybe Travis will get to do like a couple of them, and you were like, we'll see what he can have time for, and then he was like, no, I'm doing all of them.
And he's like, yeah, I'm doing all of it. It's like, What? Jesus. All right.
So
Great.
all of that. Yeah,
I could not. It was so good. I was like listening to his tracks, like
being a
I
part
have
of
to make it
that-
work.
That kind of like passion. You know, I'm just really grateful to be.
Right.
Yeah.
That kind of
Yeah, you know, like doing remix albums, the way I think about it is like we're obviously paying tribute to things that have touched us in one way or another, you know, and trying to our way of just like showing the world like, hey, we like these things and here's the way we're going to celebrate it. So Keiki Kobayashi is somebody who we love very much, and he makes music that makes games about flying planes very emotional. Like, that's a crazy accomplishment if you think about it. That is insane. So yeah, like that's why we put this album together, because that dude works magic, honestly. Yeah, so that's why this album exists. We wanted to do it. And it's coming out on Friday.
Friday.
Get your copies. And if you buy it today, you can listen to First Flight and the new mix to Devil's Spear.
Absolutely. There's a link in chat, folks. Head on over there. Get it. It's coming out, on Friday. Bandcamp Friday, December 1st. Yeah, guys, it's been a really awesome time to have you back. I feel like we've had you back for some very stellar releases, like once a year for the last little while. It's been really great to see you guys just pumping them out. Love it every time that you guys put something together. So thanks for joining us here for a Let's Listen. Yeah, I guess we'll hope to see more from you guys next year. Obviously, we're keeping our lips zipped on things that cannot be announced, but folks, if you want to keep up, definitely go check out the Tiberian Sons on their socials. They will definitely let you know when they are going to be performing and releasing more stuff in the future. Tony, Nate, Max, Travis, Connor, thanks once more, and
Thank you, Josh. Thanks for hosting this thing.
Thank you, Josh.
Almost 3 hours, man.
we had to wait for Connor a little bit, or no, sorry, we were waiting for Max. We got several dads in this chat here.
Tiberian dads.
Oh yes.
Oh my God! But thank you also to everybody in chat for coming through and checking out the album. Yeah, and we're gonna have another listening party this Friday, not for the Tiberian Sons again, but we are going to be having a party for Chip T4T, which is a chiptune compilation album raising funds for transgender youth and transgender rights. And we've got a lot more other listening parties coming up before the end of the year. So please stay tuned, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. I'm gonna move Connor around so he can wave too. There we go.
Okay.